Hey fight fans, Mike Frankel here for Nux.com, Cage Minds. We're at Fitness Kicks outside talking to Jiu Jitsu fighter Rainy Whitsitt. And how are you doing today?
Pretty good, you?
It's always a good day, you know, gonna go out, talk to fighters, get around the community. So, I've heard that you started training Jiu Jitsu, it was January 2011. What got into you then that made you want to go train Jiu Jitsu?
Actually, my good friend Erin Fisher had brought me in on a Sunday afternoon because she was doing for MMA, and she had no one in her weight class to actually work with her. So she just brought me in, and my coach then, Ron Trishelle, he's a purple belt underneath Mark Bradford, my coach now, just taught me what side control was, and I just fell in love with it from that day on. So it's stuck. I trained every day since.
Okay, so from that, I believe, I looked, it was about 4 months later, you had your first match, your first tournament. So what was that like after 3 months of training?
It was really nerve-wracking. I didn't think I was ready. Everybody said that normally you train for a year before you compete. But I come from a very competitive background with gymnastics and everything, so I wanted to give it a shot. My first tournament was the ZTS tournament in Oklahoma City, and I had 4 divisions that day. So it was really jam-packed, but I won first place in all of them. It was a blast. So
How long was the tournament?
that was one day.
In one day, you won 4. How many matches was that in one day?
7?
7? So I guess you've never had any cardio problems during your training or anything if you do that
Oh
within
no,
4
I
months.
do. When I first moved out here to Albuquerque, I did. I got used to elevation real quick.
How long did that take?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks? And you've been happy with the move from Arizona to New Mexico?
Arkansas.
Arkansas,
Yes,
sorry.
it's okay. Yes, actually, I mean, as far as my training goes, my training out here is about tenfold better than Arkansas. My coach is still, he's the guy that first got me started in Arkansas. He brought me out here, and I owe everything to him, Mark Bradford again. But, I mean, as far as training partners, I can't get any better than here, other than California, but I'm happy here.
Okay, and it's a year and 9 months you've been training about. You're already up to a purple belt. So for everyone that can't get that, how accelerated of a pace are you on?
I went on a very, very, very fast pace as far as my promotions to purple belt. I got my blue belt in June of 2011. That was after about 4.5 months. Purple belt I got in January of 2012. So normally it does take 5 to 6 years. Maybe I would have preferred to stay blue a little bit longer and get more huge tournament wins, but I'm happy with where I am. I want to stay purple belt for a while, but yeah.
So with doing that so fast with the purple belt and everything came so fast, what's one moment that sticks out of your mind that was really a learning experience? Like something that really sticks out to you, like, wow, that was enlightening or something?
Right after I got my purple belt, I went to Dallas, Texas to go work with Carlos Machado. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not. And I stayed there for a week just training. And as everybody says, whenever you get a new belt, everybody goes after it, wants to prove themselves.
Yeah.
So fresh new purple belt and a girl, I got a big roundabout and testing there. So I got enlightened what it takes to be a purple belt very, very quickly. But I held my own with their good guys. So.
Speaking of rolling around the guys, looking down your resume of accolades, you see that there's several men's tournaments you've won on there. So how do you get into the men's division to start off with?
Well, there's not very many girl purple belts, especially in this area, except for California or maybe far on the East Coast around New York. But as far as purple belts here at Advanced No-Gi, there's not many. So as far as me getting better and me testing myself and my technique, I throw myself into the men's divisions regardless of weight class. They kind of combine all of us, and I just go with the boys.
So then what does that do to perfect your technique, having to take on guys that could be bigger than you and people that would rely on strength? What does that do for your technique?
Well, the basic principle of Jiu Jitsu is just technique. It doesn't matter size or strength or anything. It's just technique. Being able to out leverage and out technique someone bigger and stronger than you. So that just lets me know kind of where I am and where I need to work.
So is there any kind of when you're beating up the men, you're like, yeah, this is a confidence builder, or is it just anybody with a gi on? It's anybody. It's a competition.
Well, with the men, that really does prove where I am at, and if I know if I can do it on a 180, 200 pound guy, then I can do it on any 115, 120 pound girl. So easily, because then I can use some athletic ability and combo with the technique.
And I've seen different weight classes, lightweight, featherweight, stuff like that. Where do you feel most comfortable at?
Most comfortable would be lightweight.
Okay. And then we know you got a tournament coming up soon, October 14th, I believe?
October 14th in San Diego, California.
And do you know ahead of time what you're going to be competing in at that?
I'll be lightweight, but there's only 2 weight classes in that one for the ADCC Qualifier. It's 132 pounds and under, then above. And I'm obviously in the under.
Okay, and then that's a one-day tournament again too?
It's a one-day tournament on a Sunday. That's my first one like that. But that it's very unique. There's slamming allowed, there's all leg locks allowed. It's a 10-minute time limit. There's no points the first 5 minutes. It's pretty much get at it and go.
Okay. And then from that, there's also a possibility of 6 days later back here in Albuquerque competing at the Southwest Grapplers Fest.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk about a little bit about that and what that does for the community out here?
Mm-hmm. Well, if I don't get hurt again, I'll compete and I'll probably jump in the men's division, and I help coach and I help rep as well. It's a very good local tournament. It's a very good place for local grapplers to start out. Pretty much all in New Mexico and some of Colorado comes out for that one. It's very nice. I'm good friends with the guy who runs it. I like that tournament a lot.
How does the reffing benefit you when you're actually competing?
The reffing helps because it helps me realize the rules. I don't know if you're familiar with the IBJJF rules. It's very, very technical. As far as like knee placement or hip placement, I could get DQ'd for every little thing. So whenever I'm seeing it and I have to think in my head, hey, I can't even do this, then it just helps me learn the rules and my movements better.
So for people that are used to watching, say, wrestling and MMA, what are some of those placements and rules that you're speaking of? Like, you mean from the guard, half guard? Like, what are you talking about when you're saying where your knee is placed?
Well, with MMA, that rules kind of goes out the window because the hip placement and the knee placements mostly involved with knee reaping. And that's mostly with IBJJF rules again, but going for like a leg lock, if I push my foot past the hip, then you automatically get DQ'd. MMA, it's all no holds barred, pretty much.
Oh, okay. That's pretty awesome. And then out of the submissions, what's your favorite submission?
Armbar.
Armbar? And how many times have you been able to use that to win then?
I would honestly say about 85% of the time, that's my move.
That's your move?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a specific way that you like to get the belly down or off your back, or is it just however you can get the arm when you see the opening, you take it?
Honestly, that's really what it is. When I see it, I take it, but I get it from mostly anywhere, especially inverted. You set up a lot of inverted guard with triangles and omoplatas and armbar combos.
Right.
So,
you're talking about the inverted moves. How much does your gymnastic background help with the inverted moves?
it helps quite a bit. To be inverted, you have to be pretty flexible, and you have to be able to understand where your body's going and where you want it to be. So for me to set it up, I have to do it properly, and then of course it affects my back and my neck. So I have to keep my yoga and stretching up for that.
So for, again, a lot of people watch MMA and stuff, what's the submission that you've been able to pull off that, something we don't see in that forum? In MMA usually, because I know there's other submissions that get pulled off in jiu-jitsu matches that you don't see in that kind of circumstance.
Mostly, I'd probably say omoplata. Omoplata isn't that used in MMA.
No, everyone stands up and kind of rips their arm out of it and runs away from it, but you've been able to get that?
Yes. That or switching over just for a crucifix or doing a choke with the omoplata, but yes.
Well, we've learned a lot more about jiu-jitsu. Everyone come out to the Southwest Grapplers Fest on October 20th. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Want to give you a moment, shout out sponsors, talk about the upcoming event again, whatnot, your time.
Okay, I would just like to say thank you again to Mark Bradford, my coach, owner of Flow Rollers Jiu Jitsu, Sashanova Unyao, and Ron Trishell for being my original coach in Arkansas, and for my sponsors, Max Muscle Rio Rancho, and to Jocko Clothing. And of course, Nux as well, my new sponsors. And I hope to see you out there on the Grapple Fest on the 20th.
I'll see you guys there. If you haven't already, sign up for the fan forum on Nux. Ask fighters questions, nutritional information, a lot of stuff. Uncage the warrior within yourself, and thanks for watching.